Constructing your life is about much more than just building a bank account. Each week, join real estate entrepreneur and mindset coach Austin Linney as he interviews guests who are constructing their dream lives and impacting the world around them on a daily basis. If you're an entrepreneur or wanting to start a business, or you just want to hear motivating stories of how others have overcome the odds, you are in the right place. And now for your host, Austin Linney.
Guys, welcome back to Construct Your Life. So when the Dos Equis man quit his job, we found the guy that took his position, a true Renaissance man, really. I mean, he does so many things, guys. We don't even really know what he does. He leads men, he travel hacks, he soccer coach. I mean, like, did I miss anything? Is there like other things? I mean,
there's a couple things.
How are you doing, Mr. Velky?
Dude, I'm having a great day. Spectacular morning. Feeling great. Excited to be here. Can't be any better.
Awesome. Well, I mean, it's great timing because, I was texting Jamie all weekend just saying how great it is to see everybody's great comments. And I know that when you have a group, and you really lead men and allow them to level up their life, there's no better feeling than to do like a 3-day workshop?
Yeah, almost 3.5.
Okay.
Tremendously powerful. I think men in general are often clear on who they want to become or can potentially become, but don't often get the space to open those channels up and to spend time creating a really safe haven to be emotionally expressive, to share what you need to let go of, to dive into becoming and purpose and intentionality and authenticity is really special. So it was really cool to see those comments as well, because I know when it started, there was a lot of hesitation, right? Those things are scary to talk about. So it was beautiful, beautiful weekend, and I was humbled to see all those beautiful representations of our work.
Yeah, because we're not allowed to. We're not allowed to like have fear. We're not allowed to man, entrepreneurship is scary. We're not allowed to say that out loud, especially as a coach like I am now. It's really interesting, my coach said to me, like, you have to kind of be careful who you open up to. You can't just go on social media and go, this is shit, I hate it. You're kind of supposed to be the pillar of like, I have it together.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? But start us back from the beginning. You have an interesting kind of path, and kind of share your story where you want to, and we'll kind of go from there.
Yeah, well, much of my career has been dotted by intentionality and by purpose. But man, I started entrepreneurship about 6 or 7 years ago, and I've been really intentional about doing well by doing good. And that's taken me down some really weird roads. I've learned a lot about business and life and designing a lifestyle, but I quit my job. I was building a business and sustaining it by coaching soccer in the evenings. Coached girls soccer for 11 years and published a book on it. I retired in 2020. Good timing to leave youth sports and publish a book on it. Also, terrible timing because I wrote a book on youth sports, like the 1 month out of the history of months that youth sports stopped completely. So some irony there. But I learned a lot through that. That was my first time really building culture, leading a group and developing what I would call mindset and habitude and all these practices for young adults. And then as I grew, I started to get into personal development and doing that for adults and guiding people on goals. I got to learn how to travel hack and build a system for other people to learn how to travel the world for free using credit. Like just so many things. And there are people in the world that I envy that are like, I do one thing. I really envy that. I'm the opposite. I'm like, I do what I want, how I want, when I want. And I like being diverse. I like being wide. The width has taught me how to consolidate and take my experiences and cross hatch them. And now as a coach, as a leader, as a trainer, as a guy that is teaching people about purpose and integrity and also about money and wealth, like those multifaceted experiences really give me a lot of context to help people wherever they are. And man, it's been a lifestyle lately of travel, of seeing the world, connecting with people. And I wouldn't trade it for the world. I work really hard, but I would not trade it for the world.
There's little words I pull out of there why we're so similar is like lifestyle, intention, and purpose. And so, me as well, like there's a lot of people that, they have good intentions. They say, get your hand out of multiple buckets. And I said, yeah, but if I did that, you might as well just butt me up. Like, and the thing is that what's interesting though is when I was interviewing this guy who's a coach as well Monday, and we were talking about like, I would give everything some days to not have my vision be so high. I would give everything for my purpose not to be high. It'd be really great to be a badass salesman, work 3 days a week and just call it a day, but that's not, but I wear that burden with a badge of honor as you do too. And when you're living your lifestyle through intention, which I think intentional habits, it doesn't really matter if it's a Saturday, Sunday, Friday, Scottsdale, Philadelphia, because like it's all encompassing in one, because people will, that energy of the way that you feel about yourself will show up for other people because they'll be like, hey, he's found his thing. And, there's a lot of guys that they want to be home and they want to do this thing. And don't get me wrong, like I long for that sometimes, but it takes what you've done, which is kind of dip your toe in a couple different avenues to kind of figure out which works for you. And that's where it gets tricky, right? Because we say emulate mentors, but really like what's good for you is not good for me, is not good for that person. So what's the tactic that you take that for people?
Really important to find models that model the way you want to live, not just what they have. It's really easy to say, I want to have that, or I want to own that, or I want to live like that, and keep that in such a small container where you can really open up your box and really begin to live more intentionally, is to notate models of clarity, of intention, of maybe family, of, if business is your thing, then business, but being hyper selective on who you're modeling is really important. I think over time, I have started to emulate very differently what's happening internally. And it started with the life, the things, the travel, the lavish kind of lifestyle that I was like, yeah, this will make me happy. And then you get in it and you're like, oh, well, this actually isn't very satisfying or gratifying. And now the way that I look at individuals is how they show up, the kind of energy that they have, the way they give, the way they provide for others, the way they nurture and support. And those are my models. And when you have that kind of clarity, you're not nearly as distracted by all the other shiny objects. As an entrepreneur, shiny object syndrome is killer. Mm-hmm. And those North Stars consistently evolve, right? I can't hold on to a model for too long because I'm growing, and I have to consistently allow that to guide me differently.
What are the one or two things that you think anybody that's getting started, maybe they're in a W-2 that they want to leave, they want to do entrepreneurship, like where do you start?
Well, the first thing I would do is learn what your skills are so that you can begin to simply and without too much friction monetize them. That could be cutting lawns on a Saturday. That could be, building logos for people. That could be helping people with their website. Whatever your skill is, learning the relationship between, hey, I enjoy this and I'm good at it and I can monetize it is a really simple step. And one thing that I struggled with that someone can skip and bypass is I always thought I had to be really good. And you've only got to be 2 steps ahead of somebody that you're helping. If you are, maybe you're not the best web developer in the world, but you can put up a website, there are a lot of people that will pay you for your time. And as soon as that relationship gets formed where you have a new dynamic of time and money doing something that you love, your whole world's going to change, especially if you're unhappy and unfulfilled with your work. The second thing I would say is, our relationship with money is critical to being an entrepreneur. You have to be willing to let go of the same structures that you have when you are employed. It's a very different dynamic and container. So practicing delegation with a virtual assistant, or paying to have your car cleaned, or paying to have your house cleaned, isn't about those services. I used to think that was like a luxury. And now I understand that what I'm really doing is I'm taking my earning capacity, delegating something that would take me 3 to 4 hours to clean my space, and I get to go produce during those 3 hours. And that relationship, practicing that, could be very simple. A nanny for like, so you and your partner can go out for a date night, really starts to cement, oh, money, energy that I'm using is deployed in a way that allows me to not only free up my time to potentially go earn more or go have fun, but it's a relationship of putting money where I value and then spinning that at a higher velocity as you go. And those are really easy entry points to being an entrepreneur, no matter what your relationship is with your work.
No, it's so true that you switch the dynamic 100%, because I, like, when I got into coaching, like, one of the things I was unaware of is like the relationship towards the energy that's coming at me with being in all these people's life, is I just was feeling kind of like it was a lot. And so somebody suggested that I start getting body work treatments, like from a masseuse. And so I'm more beholden to pay them money for their time. So I will force myself to shut it down for an hour and a half and meditate during the massage. And so that money that I'm spending there is not an option for me anymore, because it makes me a better coach. It makes me a better person. So if that's the case, then what are the other aspects in your life that can do that? Like, if your dollar per hour, let's just say, is $750, like, you shouldn't be shopping for groceries.
Yep. That's something I've had to let go of. Right. And, you don't really think about it this way until you're in it and you're starting to feel the friction and the like rubber that starts to burn slower. But time is the most important thing. Like, money is simply a tool to get a high utility from my time. Mm-hmm. And what I noticed, like, if I look back on being an employee, and I'm really proud of this, in 2015, that's when I quit my job. Like, my use of time, my relationship with time was really, really unhealthy. I went to work, I came home, I would do some extra things. I would, moonlight a couple different coaching opportunities. But largely speaking, I didn't understand how important time was. I was very disciplined, very structured. I would run in the morning, I'd take care of myself, eat well. But I was moving so fast to try to like get somewhere that even in the early days of being an entrepreneur, I missed the moments. There were some moments that I completely missed. And now, having boundaries, having clarity in what is most important to me, my values, really allows me to get the most out of time, because we are finite. My context, my motivation is my mortality. And man, when you keep that at the end of the tunnel and like the end of the rope that you're working towards, everything has much stronger context.
And I just, this morning I just walked away from quite a bit of money, because I determined that the amount of time that I was spending on this said client opposed to my other 13 is, the ratios are off. And so, yeah, does it suck to walk away from it? Yeah, but it also it gives me back so much more of my time to put it somewhere else. And so it's this delicate dance of understanding. And a lot of that was scheduling and stuff, because I think that, one of the most misunderstood, one of the things that I tell myself all the time, because I spent, 20 plus years as a W-2 employee, to get out of the W-2 job mentality, it takes a lot. And I try to remind myself on a daily basis, what would a CEO do? And that's where I try to make a decision from that. But man, I'm telling you, I think that mentality is really hard to get out for an entrepreneur.
I fully agree. And let's complete a very whole picture. I also think that the language and narrative, the rhetoric around financial freedom is equally as scary. And here's why. If I took someone to like the middle of the desert with nothing around and dropped them in the middle and left, it'd be very hard to figure out where to go. And when we envision financial freedom, I think we often put so many options in that arena. And freedom has no value if you don't have direction. So if you say, hey, I'm working, I'm going to get financially free. My next question is why?
Yeah.
What does that power for you? What's the intention? What's the goal? What does that allow you to do that you can't do now?
Mm-hmm.
And I find that most individuals have a very warped sense of freedom in the future, allowing them to do something they could do in the present.
Yes.
And that's where the like conundrum really gets so on fire.
So Cody Sanchez said a couple of days ago that freedom has an exit price. It always does. And I was like, fuck, like that's it, because the money that I walked away from hurts here, but there's a freedom aspect on the back end of that. Right. And so that's when you look at it from that way, it's like, oh, okay. And like, I got divorced last year, and it's like, oh, that sucks. Like that was a lot of stress, and I lost a house and I lost a dog, but I also gained so much on the other end. And that was a personal choice. And so at every opportunity, if you change the way that you see it, and for me, I think the biggest issue in America is that money is so misunderstood. It's so misunderstood. And it's like, you talk, because money is in relation to what you deal with, right? Like I have a friend who manages $5 billion for UT, and they make $350 million trades like it's water, like they're grabbing a glass of water. But in relation to him, that's what he's trained his whole life for, and it's totally comfortable. And so I always loved when Ed Milet talked about to the Go Bros in Colorado, and he said, "Yeah, all of you are very successful compared to who? Not compared to me." And so there's an ever opportunity. But you have to classify what it means to you. And I don't think people have, like 90% of times that you coach people and you help people, they hire me for a reason. And then we wound up 180 degrees in the opposite direction. Is that what you see too?
Yeah. A lot of the conversations start with like this really sexy, shiny object in the sky. And when we start down that path, we realize that object didn't have the same kind of appeal once we broke down a couple internal barriers. And, that context of like, this is what I want. I want that life. I want that success. I want that thing. When you really root into why someone wants that, you often discover that they want it for reasons that they don't even connect to. Mm-hmm. Right? This will prove to my mom that I'm worthy. This will show everyone that I'm enough. This will relegate to everyone that I'm better. And those reminders at like an emotional level, those are huge anchors. Like you actually can't succeed in any way if worthiness, enoughness, and fear are the things that control you. So yeah, we end up down this path of like, what? Can you help me build my business? Can you help me get out of my own way? And can you help me become the person I'm capable of becoming? And through that process and journey, we end up on a very different pathway of emotional development, worthiness, healing, even like there's so much in it. And it sounds very strange to even say that. Mm-hmm. And yet I can tell you that everybody that I've worked with has had these huge epiphanies of like, why am I chasing that? Mm-hmm. Because now that I've done this work, I know that I want something very different, and it is well within my reach, just as I am.
But I agree 100%, but that's not the hardest part. And beating addiction kind of proved this out, and addiction is relevant in a lot of different ways. But how do you get somebody, because really their identity is tied too much to a job or an alcohol addiction or what that thing means to them? How do you go about rebuilding somebody's identity? Because that's really what it's about.
It is. I would say crafting a new identity is a couple pieces. So first you got to illuminate, like you got to shine a light on what is currently there really, really deeply. Most of us we only know a small piece of who we are. So we go into like 10 domains in our Men on Purpose community where, and all of the coaching that I do on this side, where you get to see all of it, who you really are. Then we go into elimination. We have to eliminate and get out of the way some of the things that no longer serve us, the habits, et cetera, the patterns, the behaviors, the mindsets. And much of that leads to a very obvious next step, which is calibrating, building, crafting, engineering. Ultimately, crafting a new identity requires someone to look at, see, observe, and want change, and then to, like an operation game, go in selectively and destroy the old one so that they can create space for new ideas. But oftentimes what happens is we are a byproduct of our environment and our circumstances. So our identity just is shaped around that, not intentionally built. And the work is very slow and meticulous, yet meaningful and purposeful enough that someone can say, I no longer want to be an absentee father. Then we've got to work on, okay, what are the actions that a present father takes? And once you craft a plan of that, this is the same for money too. Once you craft a plan of where you want to go, and you're very intentional to build a staircase, the repetition will guide the crafting. The like concrete will harden over time, but it's not a light switch. And I think many of us want to change identities, but don't take the time to change identities. And it's very possible. The mind is very elastic. Finding a guide, very important, but being able to let go of who you were, even more so. And sometimes that takes really turning behavior, like smoking cigarettes. Smoking cigarettes, the reason people do it is they get the reward now, the pain's later. Mm-hmm. And we've got to flip that relationship where you are suffering when you're smoking cigarettes, and the pain is brought to the present instead of pushed off to the future.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and a concept that I'm playing around with, because I haven't really like framed it out just yet, but there's some, like, because I've blown up my life a couple times, like there is some freedom in blowing your entire fucking life up, because you get to take what you want and you're released of everything else, you know? Yeah. And so it's this weird thing of like, on the surface, it might be like, oh, I don't know how you did that. But actually there's total freedom because I just get to take what I want and move on. And it's not holding me anymore.
Yeah, man. The shit that we live with is really heavy until we decide to let it go. Mm-hmm. And man, to give people permission just to set down who they've told themselves they have to be, or they've convinced themselves they are, and to say, look, put your bags down. They're anchors. You're a balloon. You're going to fly. You just got to get rid of the anchors. You just have to eliminate the anchors. Mm-hmm. Is really powerful. There was this is both identity shift and money, which are basically the two businesses that I'm in now. Like, mm-hmm. Can I shift people, and then can I shift their relationship with money through Money Club? Like, when you change your relationship with money, this girl that I worked with as an artist, a musician, talented, went from working as a temp agent to working full-time as a musician and making 4x the amount of monthly income doing what she loved. And that story is really meaningful because now she gets to influence, to love, enjoy, laugh, and be someone that she only imagined was like in the distance.
This, especially entrepreneurs, especially business people that are so rigid in their investing and stuff, like, understand that this thing, like, and I talked to this about with my coach, this thing that we're doing right now, this podcast, coaching, artistry, whatever, it's art. It's art. And if you don't use your gift and you don't inspire the world with your gifts, then it's going to go to somebody else. And, you know, I always make my clients, when they're stuck, read Big Magic, and they're like, why am I reading this dumb book? Like, I want to learn about multifamily. And I'm like, because you're going to realize that by you hiding it or not playing small or not showing it to the world, that you're keeping it from, because when you're living your passion, somebody else is going to see that, and then they're going to step up in their world. And so it's going to be this ripple effect of everybody, you know. And my co-host on my other podcast talks about this. Like, could you imagine a world, right, where everybody woke up and they got to determine what they did every day, and they got to wake up and have their coffee, and you know, and something that he shared on the podcast with Omar, my previous coach, is Omar was talking about how he didn't have a work day and he got to spend, he said, well, I could have breakfast with my wife, and it was this great day that we got to have. And Anthony said, yeah, or was that moment always there? And you never, and we almost fell out of our chairs, and you were never open to it. So understand that it's all here. We just have to be open for it.
Yeah, I love that. I'll do some personal promotion. You know, our Money Club is a really awesome thing that we've been building for a long time. And it is essentially now a community with a lot of different education and accountability. And I think money, because of its tabooness, has this need for it to be safe to talk through. But we spent a lot of time, we worked with kids. We got kids programs, we got employee wellness programs, we got all this stuff. We got programs for adults that want to grow wealth. And we almost had to think about what is wealth differently, because so many individuals are like shackled to the idea that wealth is more money. And I've spent a lot of time in a lot of circles, and I can tell you that more money is not more happiness, and more happiness is not necessarily more money. Now, they are connected, and it is very important to have your money straight. Very important. It is a facilitator of a lot of things. But your relationship with money dictates more about your future than how much money you have. And you can have doors opened that are very expensive doors open for free if you understand how these things all come together. So we've been working for a long time and building out accelerators to help people build assets or create more investable income. And in that process of learning, naturally, I've had to learn because I'm the model, right? I have to grow so that I can show people how to grow. But one of the lessons that I've learned is that the entire objective of money energy is to create moments that are irreplaceable. That's the entire objective. Now, that moment may come from maybe like I'm under contract for a home that will serve as an event space for some of these retreats.
Sure.
So it's in alignment. And I'll be able to share that in Bradenton, Florida. And I'll be able to share that with other people hosting retreats, right? I'll be able to power other people hosting retreats. And
I already want to book it up. So yeah.
I'll send, dude, it's magical.
Dude, I'm telling you, we're going to do a lifestyle. We'll see. Now I'm up here in Tahoe and we got the 3 hotels. So my job is to put on events. So I want to have y'all at this one, which is on the lake with Maddie. And we're going to do like a lifestyle entrepreneurship event.
Yes, absolutely. The joy in that, like, it's no longer an asset solution. It's a purpose solution, and it'll have its asset spinoff. It'll generate cash. It'll do well. But that just allows me to power more of those things for people that are intentional, that want to host retreats, that want to take their family away and create memories. That's the intention. The spinoff of cash is just an added perk. And the relationship that we have with money and having a place to talk about money, to learn about it, to grow, to be in a community is one of the biggest changes I've ever gotten to experience, because I was wrapped in the same race and like volley system that everyone gets caught up in. Like, go get more, go get more, go get more. And the question I would ask you if you're listening is, what is it you want more of? And how does money fold into that? How does the other elements of our lifestyle fold into that? If you want more time with your wife, money may not play as big of a role in that as you might think.
Yeah.
And one of the exercises we take people through is called the first battleground, the second climb. So first battleground is like, what's the there that you keep saying? I want to make this much money, or have this many houses, or do this, do that, do that. And then we all have a second climb, which is like, when I'm there, I'll open a charity for kids. I'll go volunteer overseas. I'll, donate to a foundation and go be on their board. I'll go teach kids in the inner city. And those things, that's what we're really after. Those things can be completely merged. We separate those mountains, and bringing them together, you can do them now. I talked to somebody that was like, man, I'm really excited. I can't wait to go in the city and like teach kids. And I'm like, well, what are you waiting for? He's like, well, I need to publish my book. And I'm like, dude, they're like
Nope.
7. That they don't care if you've published a book. You've got plenty of wisdom to pass on. It's all a displacement in your heart. Your priorities are me. Then I'll give to you. And my equation is very flipped. And shockingly, many people said, hey, dude, you've got a very backwards lifestyle model. It won't work. And now, many years later, a lot of work put into it. I can tell you that doing good has also done well for me, but I've put people ahead of me, and it's a different equation.
Because we as men, and this is kind of my joke that I'm running with all my clients right now, is I'm working on Saturday, I'm working on Sunday, I'm working on Friday, I'm starting 3 businesses, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this and this. And you turn around, you look at your family, and you go, see, I'm doing this all for you. And they look at you and they go, we never asked for it.
Yep.
Now here's the rub. If this is for you, then just own it and communicate properly to the family. That's all I'm saying.
Exactly.
And it's so at the end of the day, I always, Tony Robbins, I always thought about this. If you don't give at 1,000, you won't give at 1,000,000. And so you have to, and giving could be time, it could be, knowledge. And one of the concepts that I think is interesting with you as a coach too, and I kind of had the epiphany 6 months ago, there's also an added benefit to being a coach, because I don't have any fear anymore, because I know that in order for me to be the best at what I do, I have to go do the things before my clients do them, and then turn around and go, hey, so I've already made the mistakes. Here you go. And so now I don't look anything as me gaining more skills. I look at me as just being the explorer for my clients. I started the podcast. I did this. And I spent money where I shouldn't have spent here. Hey, let me save you a bunch of money in Airbnb by not doing that. And that's it's kind of this social accountability that I didn't even know I had,
Dude, I love that. I'll recite the first line of my mission statement, because it very much aligns with that, and may give some people some context into what the responsibility is when you're a model or a coach. So that mission statement is several lines like this, but the first line is to courageously explore the boundaries of the human experience, playfully engaging in an infinite game and painting the world with possibility, awe, and artistry. And that thing really calls me when I'm like, oh my God, I'm terrified of this. Mm-hmm. I have to remind myself that my job is to courageously explore those boundaries. And in doing so, I can then walk somebody down, hey, here's what I experienced, here's what I learned, here's where I failed. And one of the challenges in leadership that I find most aggravating is that we love to send our highlight reel across the globe and not share the lowlights. And one of the things that has made me most connective, in my opinion, it's that the way that I'm guiding someone is through my failures and around my failures, not in lieu of my failures. Mm-hmm. And, whether it's Money Club and talking about ways I've misused money and my relationship with money being broken, or Men on Purpose and talking about how, there was a long time where I was trying to fill a hole. I was running from, I wasn't running to. Those are really important things to share through the journey. Otherwise, I'm just another talking head sharing another win. And that's great. It's important so that people can see that through the losses, there's a win, but that is not the main stage event. That is very much the after show that someone can then leap on the bandwagon and say, hey, dude, great work.
Yeah, I've never once had somebody go, man, that's awesome. No, they're like, dude, that sucked. Thanks for telling me so I don't do that. And it's like, yeah. And it's like, and you get to a point where it's so, here's what I love. And this is, I'm not tooting my own horn, but just something that really lifts me up. It's when my coaching clients' wives reach out to me. That's when I know shit's gravy. I'm like, when they're like, hey, thank you. And I'm like, yeah, that's when if mama's happy, everybody's happy, and so, and that's what it's about. It's about this in Men on Purpose and Go Abundance and all these guys. It's this whole life. If you are unhealthy, you are 100 pounds overweight, and you're shitty husband and you're a shitty father, and you make $1 million a month, I don't care. I'm not going to listen to you at all, because your life is so And I think balance is overrated anyway, but your life is so
Agreed.
skewed in the wrong direction because all we're actually seeking is control of schedule. There is no balance. It's control of schedule. And then once you have that, you can create whatever you want. Because I tell guys all the time, hey, you're very successful. Congrats. But what if I told you that you couldn't work on Thursday and Friday? How successful are you? And they're like, well, hold on, that changes everything. And I'm like, yeah, because then you have to get really intentional about your time.
Yep.
And that changes the game. So just because you've maxed out this one area doesn't mean that you've maxed out completely.
Yeah, the journey is intense. This is not a game for everyone, not a game for every man, not a game for every woman. And what I find is that the game that we're playing is one of self-mastery, one of financial intelligence, and one of conscious leadership. Those are the three. Those are also in my mission statement.
Mm-hmm.
And those three are the anchors for someone to consistently evolve, grow, and add more value to the world: personal mastery, financial intelligence, and conscious leadership. And in those pockets, I find that, one, there's a tremendous amount of like uneducation needed, right? You have to unlearn a lot to be able to be proficient in those areas. You also have to find really good leaders, mentors, and education to serve you, and be prepared to always evolve out of an identity, like a snake shedding its skin. You just have to let go of who you were for who you're becoming. And that path can be very lonely. But man, there's nothing more valuable than finding a community of people or even just a few individuals that you can walk that path with. And I've found that over the years, you find a couple people that are rolling on the same wavelength, like same pace, and like that is all you need. Hopefully it's a partner, but it might just be a friend, it might be a buddy, it might be a best friend's sister that's just like super cool, and you can roll the journey of life out together. And that's where the magic is, that deep connection, that honest, open, high integrity space where you can grow, evolve, shed yourself, and not have to worry about somebody saying like, hey, what about the old Aaron? Like, look, one of my favorite lines from Jay-Z, I forget what song it's on, but he's like, hey, you want my old shit? Buy my old album. And I resonate with that from a perspective of personal development. If you want the old me, go back to the old videos, go back to the old education that I created, go back to the old products that I made. The new me is very centered on new things, and sure. I will evolve again. And that's something I'm very proud of. After a lot of years of being told not to evolve and not to change and not to challenge, and not to be me. And now I'm getting back to me.
I love it. If people want to find out more about your groups, what you got going on, how would they do that?
Well, the best place to go for anything Money Club is just Facebook. We've got a great Money Club community. So type in Money Club community, you'll find us. We're in the middle of a rebrand, so our website is forthcoming. But that's a great place to start. If you want to look at Men on Purpose, Facebook's a great place for that. It's the Men on Purpose community. And then you can just go to my website to find out where to connect to each of these things. It is aaronvelky.com, AARON, V as in victory, ELKY.com. You can check out book stuff there, coaching, speaking, anything that I'm involved in is generally there.
I love it. Guys, if you got some value from this, share it with a friend, rate us and review us, send it to somebody that'll get some value from this, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to Construct Your Life with Austin Linney. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to rate, review, subscribe, and pay it forward by sharing with a friend. Most importantly, take this opportunity to start constructing your life by taking immediate action on what you learned. For show notes, resources, and more information on one-on-one coaching with Austin, visit constructyourlifepodcast.com.